In a moment few could have predicted, a dramatic shift has occurred on the global stage. General Michael Langley, once seen as the face of U.S. military dominance in Africa and widely regarded as Captain Ibrahim Traoré's greatest adversary, has publicly changed course. In a press conference that left reporters stunned and global powers in disbelief, Langley extended an apology, not only to the people of Burkina Faso, but directly to Traoré himself. After years of confrontation, accusation, and tension, the man who symbolized Western military interference in Africa now says he sees things differently. The question on everyone's lips? What changed? To understand the weight of this moment, one must remember who General Langley is. As the first black four-star general in the U.S. Marine Corps and commander of AFRICOM, the United States Africa Command, Langley held the power to shape the military destiny of the African continent. Under his leadership, AFRICOM expanded drone operations, military partnerships, and training programs across Africa. To Washington, he was a stabilizing force in a continent they saw as vulnerable to terrorism, Russian influence, and Chinese expansion. But to many Africans, especially in the Sahel region, Langley represented the continued shadow of colonial dominance, repackaged under the banner of counterterrorism and security. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, on the other hand, emerged from the ranks of the Burkina Faso military not as a traditional politician, but as a revolutionary. In 2022, he took power through a coup, promising to restore dignity to his country and free it from foreign dependence. Unlike many coup leaders, Traoré's rhetoric resonated with the youth and working class. He openly called out France's stranglehold on Burkina Faso's resources and accused Western powers, including the United States, of supporting puppet governments while sowing chaos behind the scenes. His fiery speeches, often invoking Thomas Sankara, echoed across Africa like a call to rise. And rise they did. Mali, Niger, and Guinea soon followed in Burkina Faso's footsteps, rejecting Western influence and forming a bloc determined to shape their own future. For Langley, this was dangerous. A continent turning its back on U.S. influence was not only a geopolitical nightmare, it was a challenge to everything AFRICOM had been designed to uphold. Reports emerged that Langley had warned U.S. policymakers of Traoré's contagious ideology, suggesting it could spread and unravel decades of American influence in Africa. Military advisors were recalled. Intelligence operations were redirected. Pressure mounted on the United States to respond. And behind the scenes, whispers of sabotage, isolation, and even assassination began to circulate. It was clear Traoré had become not just a nuisance, but a symbol of rebellion. Despite it all, Traoré remained defiant. He expelled foreign troops, refused IMF conditions, and entered into partnerships on his own terms with non-Western powers. While Western analysts predicted his downfall, he only grew stronger, both in Burkina Faso and across Africa. Massive rallies in support of his leadership filled stadiums. Young Africans proudly wore his image on T-shirts. Songs, poems, and murals painted him as the new Sankara. And even when he faced attempted mutinies or diplomatic threats, Traoré stood firm. Then, the unexpected happened. General Langley, known for his stoic demeanor and calculated strategy, gave a rare public interview on international media. When asked about Burkina Faso and Traoré's actions, he paused. The silence was telling. Then, in a tone markedly different from previous statements, Langley said, "Perhaps we misread the will of the African people. Perhaps we misunderstood what sovereignty truly means to them." The clip went viral. Within 48 hours, Langley stood at the Pentagon podium. The room was full. Cameras flashed. What followed was a statement that rewrote years of U.S. policy in a few short minutes. To the people of Burkina Faso, Langley said, "To those who have endured the weight of foreign decisions made without your consent, and especially to President Ibrahim Traoré, I offer my sincere apology. We believed we were bringing security, but we failed to listen. We acted in our interest, not always in yours. And for that, we ask for forgiveness." The world was stunned. Journalists scrambled to verify. African leaders responded cautiously, many unsure whether this was a political tactic or a genuine reflection of new thinking. In Ouagadougou, the response was more direct. Supporters flooded the streets in celebration. Some wept, others shouted in disbelief. For people long silenced, this was validation. Traoré, known for his composure and command, addressed the matter simply. "The apology is noted," he said, "but our dignity was never up for negotiation. We will continue to walk our path, free, proud, and African. If those who once opposed us now understand, then let them respect our sovereignty, not manipulate it." His response was measured but firm. The message was clear: forgiveness is one thing, forgetting is another. Analysts have since debated Langley's motivations. Some believe it's a strategic recalibration, with Africa leaning further toward multipolarity, strengthening ties with Russia, China, and emerging global blocs. The United States may be shifting tone to preserve its dwindling influence. Others believe Langley's change comes from personal reflection. As a Black American commanding military operations in Africa, he may have finally confronted the uncomfortable truth that his role placed him at odds with his heritage. Whatever the reason, the narrative has changed. For the first time in recent memory, a high-ranking Western military leader has not only acknowledged mistakes in Africa, but publicly sought to repair them. Whether this signals a broader shift in U.S. policy remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: the symbolic power of Langley's apology cannot be underestimated. To millions of Africans watching, it was more than politics. It was a moment of truth, a sign that even those who once wielded power without consequence can be held accountable, not through violence, but through conviction, resistance, and the unwavering belief that Africa deserves to write its own story. As the sun sets over Ouagadougou tonight, it shines on a continent awakening, not to the promises of foreign generals, but to the power of its own people. And in this awakening, even enemies can change course.